Today, we say farewell to an iconic voice, a man who's been the heartbeat of our broadcast for decades. Omi isn't just a commentator, he's a storyteller, a historian, and a true ambassador of the game. His words have painted vivid pictures, his passion has united fans to watch PRL, and his insight has elevated the way we experience sports. As Omi steps away from the microphone from Formula 2 and PRL, we have the honour of reflecting his incredible journey throughout his time in PRL. From his early days when he made a few mistakes trying to find his voice, he's become the trusted companion in millions of living rooms. Omi has been more than a broadcaster, he's been a legend. Omi, thank you for the memories, and welcome to what might be one of your last interviews as the voice of PRL, as we all know and love. Good morning, Omi. How are you?
Hello, Note. I'm doing well. Having a great weekend so far as well when it comes to the Row Racing Convention. Great to be here. Always the festival when it comes to Roblox racing. All of these different leagues, games, developers putting their boots out here. And we at PRL also have done it for the first time, which is a great moment for me as I also stepped down from the league which I've commentated on and also I created all the way back a couple of years ago.
Okay, so we all do know why you're here, and so we have gathered questions and a few messages for your goodbye this season. With this opening, we are going to ask with very subtle question of how come you decided to step down as the commentator of PRL?
Good question to start off, first of all, but patience, I think. You really have to think about it, especially when you've done the role for 7 seasons. Of course, I've been in and out, but I've always been involved somewhat throughout the seasons as well. But when you've done it for so long, it does get to a point where that is enough. And it would seem a little bit weird because it looked like that this was when we were really getting where we've had a very good season of every F2 session being broadcasted, and then we go into the next season, which season with so many title contenders, with Jaden, who's been the star of Formula 2, retiring, stepping aside, meaning that we're going to get an all-time F2 season, and then me stepping away right before it begins. But iterations, I think, unfortunately, one of the big reasons, which it is unfortunate and it is quite sad, is some of the things that went on. I'm sure we're going to dive more into throughout this interview, but definitely wider considerations, and at the end of the day, timing as well has to play a part. I've decided to cover a lot more feeder series this year in terms of Frekka GB3, meaning that the time is slightly less on my side, unfortunately, and I'm also getting a couple of paid opportunities left and right, so it's just getting a little bit too much at this stage. So I think I always had to step down. I always felt like there was one more season I could have done, but I always knew I had to step down. Kind of like Alex Jake said on his goodbye to Formula 2. He would have done the role forever, but at some point it's enough. I think 7 seasons on a Roblox game. Most leagues don't even last that long, but 7 seasons on a Roblox game is absolutely extraordinary. So I think I've definitely had time commentating, and I think it's a perfect time to step away.
Well, that is great to hear from you, Omi. So from now, I believe we are going to dive straight into the questions, unless there's anything you have to say. No. Okay.
Nothing.
Let's have a look here. Um, Hearing from Jaden, we have heard him asking, throughout your time during PRO and also the Isaac League, what has been your favourite F1 or F2 race?
Oh, well, I think for obvious reasons, you're not going to be getting any of the races from the IWH League. Well, I wouldn't say they were the most entertaining. I think definitely PRL has always been the main one, and I think yesterday's student account told a brilliant, an absolutely extraordinary story. I mentioned this yesterday in our Row Racing Convention walkthrough, but if you want to hear a bit about the early parts of it, then I think he did a story about it. the IWH League started and how that all came about, and then how I decided to create my own. We had so many leagues run. RCP that had the rights to everything. Everyone came in, whether they were part of the that was running on one. They all came into RCP, were in basically what was the main league that was running as well. So that is a hard one. That is a hard one. There's been so many great races, but I think I absolutely loved some of those races in season one, season two, I have to say, where you had all of these talents, and I think to say that we of course had more drivers back then, the COVID era, you just had loads of drivers, you had loads of competitors. So I won't give you for what my favorite one is, but yeah, I'll narrow it down. I think some of the ones in season 1, season 2, season 3, the early parts basically, where we just had constant drama, constant action, and yeah, those are definitely some of my favorite races.
That is great to hear. Um, on the topic of talking with it about student, he's actually just asked a question. Here it is. He was asking, you mentioned how your entire time here at PRL hasn't been positive at times. What are the negative moments?
Ooh, interesting question there. Well, I think straight into it, think, yes, as I mentioned, not all of it has been positive, which is slightly sad. It's just the way that it worked out. And to be fair, when you do it for 7 seasons on a Roblox League, I think it was expected. So if we dive into some of those, I think when I joined early on in the season, this season, so I had a bit of time off, and then I came back this season. Was I think most of the unpositive part, where I think if someone remembers, even I even said the statement that I wish I never season. A well, a bit of a review for me of PRL not ending on a high. So well, this interview is going absolutely brilliantly so far, so I hope this is my last memory, because it is going absolutely brilliantly. But yes, the season not as I would have hoped for. I think there was a lot of issues, whether that was drivers just constantly interrupting. I mean, at the early stage of the season, I went in, and I had so many drivers interrupting throughout the race randomly. I had even a driver who was interrupting when I was giving the driver the winning call at the end. So when I was crowning a driver over the line for victory, I was getting interrupted then as well for another driver finishing second or third, I think it was. So all been a weird moment, because you have gone all of these years without no one interrupting you. You've just been able to sit there, and now it's like, oh, you're getting interrupted left and right. So yes, I think that definitely is one of the main bits. I think we'll all remember the Baku weekend as well. That had quite a lot of drama. I wasn't that weekend. There was an F2 that week, so I heard about it. Then we had to have a meeting as well. So loads of drama, just lots of stuff that didn't well this season. I think the developing side of it was slightly annoying as well at times. But yes, what some positive, I think, of course, they will come in this season. But of course, I'm not saying this is the only one. I think there was also one moment, I think it was earlier on this year, where the league moved from F1 games back to Roblox. And have moved without asking me about would I actually be open to developing. So I think they agreed on 2021 cars first. Of course, we know what happened with we had to update the cars in 2020. But yes, I was asked. Well, before I even said yes, it basically was can you add 2021 cars? They already made the decision to move before I could even answer that question as well, before I'd seen it. So annoying. But that, I think, moment also gave us this absolutely extraordinary F2 season that's just gone by.
Okay. It's a bit late. But I do have a follow up from Mega on the first question. Um, no, Bry, sorry. Hearing about the first few seasons, Bry has asked about what do you wait? What season did you enjoy watching me the most?
That is that is a very very interesting question. Season now actually it was fun. I need to remember that we started a new season of PRL now, but I think last season was fun, but we only got to see him on a few occasions. So I do have to well, basically when I covered him in Formula 1, I think the multiple seasons that we have had in the 2020 cars, I absolutely love the ones that I got to comment for him in those, seeing him fighting constantly. I remember every morning I was like, okay, well, I was in another time zone completely. I'm massively behind us, but it's like, well, I always did hope that, let's just hope that he can wake up and come with us and join us this morning for a great today. So I always had those thoughts. So yeah, I think once again I can't narrow it down to one, but that's the great thing. I think that's the great multiple seasons, and I think one with him in the 2020 cars. We have had a couple of seasons with that.
Um, Scrolling down a bit further, we do have another question from student. Here we are, and here he is asking, had you been a part of F2 again this season? If there was any extra broadcast features ready?
So I'm guessing that question is about a bit more about had I been a part of it. So okay, if I had been a part of it, there would have been. Yes, my plan was if I did do this season, which unfortunately that thought went out pretty early, but there was always hope that maybe I changed my mind, maybe I can do this. I did have some thoughts throughout the season though. While I made my very, there were thoughts throughout the season. Oh, if I do this, then we'll introduce that. We'll introduce that. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that we had a consistent story so far. Just more and more stuff as well. Whether outside the game with the studios, it's all about upgrading it season on season. We only had one season, remember. While I have been commentating this for 6 seasons prior to the 7th, we never did it through OBS. Well, we did do a preseason testing, but at that time it was very early on, where it was all where we basically didn't introduce anything, to be fair. And then when we did a full season, when we do a proper season of broadcasting, then it's a slight different approach. It's a slight different approach, and it's a slight different one where you just want everything to go right. And that meant that I was able to introduce a few things, but yeah, not everything. And then the second season, the third season, the fourth is where you continue to introduce more and more. But unfortunately for me, I won't get to see that second, third, or fourth season.
I do now have a follow-up question for that about any broadcasting and commentating, and it is, do you think there's any problems with your commentating? If so, what?
So that's anything I don't like about my commentary, I'm guessing.
Yeah. For example, it could be any stuttering, could be any sort of accent, you know.
Well, loads say I have a great voice, so I think I'm just gonna listen to that for that bit of advice. I think when it comes, of course, everyone's gonna stutter at some point. You can go and listen to, I think, 2 of the main ones, David Croft, Alex Jakes. I've heard them stutter loads of times, as well. And in my opinion, and for me, Alex Jakes is the GOAT, really, when it comes to it as well. My favourite commentator. I don't support any drivers. I don't support any drivers or anything. I literally just support Alex Jakes. He might be in the commentary box. He still gets my support, and he was definitely getting that in the F1 Sim Racing World Championship earlier this week in Event 1. But yeah, everyone's gonna have those stuttering moments. Of course, I'm gonna get more of that now. I think. Yes, I'm gonna get more of that now. But at some point, it will iron out. So that bit, I guess, I was slightly annoyed. I think Jaden created a video. Jaden created a video, a goodbye video at the end of F1, so a montage of my commentary from the F2 season. And I remember watching it and being like, oh, I stuttered there, I messed up there, I did that, I did this. Not everything's going to be perfect, unfortunately. Not everything's going to be perfect, and I think the main thing is I have a different style with everything I do. So your style needs to adapt. Your style needs to be adapted. While I, of course, have passion for everything, you do need to have a little different style. I won't be talking as fast or having to do the same style in F1 compared to, let's say, for example, I'm covering Euro 4 or Italian F4. The cars are going to be much more slower, meaning that the speed is much different, so I'm not going to be talking as fast and trying to get out as much information in a short period as it's all happening a little bit more slower. For example, I'm covering a cup car race later on today as well, where we are going to find ourselves in a very slow car, very slow. I'm going from an F1 car to basically a very slow little car, meaning that style will change, while the passion will stay the same. The energy will stay the same. You do need to adapt your style a bit. And I think PRL was that one where, as I've done it for so long, I just had the complete different style. I just had the complete different style for PRL compared to others, which I don't think was a bad thing. Of course, there is a few things you have to consider with lag crashes and all sorts that does happen in PRL. But sadly, I do feel like sometimes my PRL commentary wasn't the best as some of my other stuff I do week in, week out. But if everyone enjoyed it, then I'm guessing I did please everyone. But yeah, I do wish sometimes that my PL commentary sounded a bit like what I do for other places. But I think with PL, one of the annoying thing is that as it's on Roblox, you're having to control everything. I can't plug in a controller and manage stuff through that. So it's slightly hard standing up, having to adjust all the cameras, having to do all this, having to do all that. And of course, say start, for example, at the start of races. Commentators want their good position, trying to get into the zone before races. So some of those things were slightly annoying. I think may have also interfered, and also having to keep an eye on the Discord to see radios as well. So I think all of those aspects may have slightly interfered with all of that. But I think when it comes to it, I do want to, well, just continue improving on all aspects. There's always something better you can do. There's no such thing as a perfect broadcast, and that is something that Alex Jakes did taught me when he said that. There isn't a thing as a perfect broadcast. Even he felt he's done F2 for 10 seasons. Of course, he's now left, but he's also done F1. He's someone who's done F1, F2, F3, the Porsche Super Cup all in one season, along with doing F1 esports as well. He was also doing W Series. He's done Le Mans. He's done the Indy 500. He's done absolutely everything, very nearly. And I believe he was even very close to covering a Formula E race last year. So he's even said that he hasn't come close. Well, he has come close on an occasion to a perfect broadcast, but it wasn't perfect as well. So there's always ways to improve, and I think this year I'm definitely looking towards that. And I think maybe taking PRL off the commentary bill might just support that a little bit in terms of getting a bit more time to look back at your previous work and just think about where to improve, whether that's thinking about other phrases or really anything. So there's always ways you can get better.
Still on the commentating business, student has just asked as well if we possibly could see a iconic return to broadcast.
Well, I'm gonna assume that it's a return to PRL. Well, never say never. Never say never. I think yes. For the time being, I think no. Who knows? Maybe this time next year. I've decided that's enough of GB3. That's enough of Euro 4. That's enough of it in F1. I don't believe that's gonna happen. I don't believe one bit that's gonna happen. But you know, never say never. That might happen. I may have the most hardest year. I'm thinking of. I might be covering the of course nothing confirmed yet, but I might actually be going to Silverstone to cover the GB3 round from the actual commentary box at Silverstone. So never say never, that it might turn out as an absolute nightmare and I may not be doing GB3 or any of that again for a while, and I may end up with time and I may end up coming back because of course PRL will always be close to my heart for the first thing the first big thing that I was able to cover and actually, well, of course I did cover a few things before it, but you know, the first one I'll actually properly remember covering. So yeah, there could be an iconic return. Who knows? That might be in a year's time. I don't know if the league will still be functioning back then, but there could be an iconic return. But I feel like the chance is pretty low, considering the league won't will the league might be coming to an end soon. So it does mean that maybe if the league was open in 3 years' time, I might just come back for a single race. But to be fair, I might come back for a single race. Who knows? If I find some time in a few months or something. But for now, don't know, but never say never.
Okay, that is really good to hear about there being the slightest chance of you coming back. A bit out of the ordinary, we have just got a message from Nick of him asking, what is your favourite memories over the years you've been here in the league?
Oh, well, I think definitely the Baku qualifying, my word. The one where it was Q1, Q2, Q3, and you had so many drivers. It was absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely incredible stuff, that qualifying session. I absolutely loved commentating that. Not just, of course, commentating that, but at the time, being the league owner and just seeing so many people in that qualifying. It was absolutely unbelievable. And we wish that we could go back and have this same drivers all competing now as well. But unfortunately, it won't be as good as the COVID era with how that was. But to have basically very nearly a complete full grid of 20 in that qualifying session, all of them competing to try get out of Q1. You don't often in Roblox get this thing where you're trying to see, will someone be knocked down Q1? Yes, no. Or Q2, we don't even do that anymore, of course, due to the amount of drivers we have. But you never got that feeling, and I think that's just completely different. That was absolutely an extraordinary moment. We'll always love the Germany race, Mega Nick battling and backmarkers doing absolutely everything as well to cause issues. That was pretty chaotic. I'll order that race at Monza as well with the red flag. So there was one of the races at Monza where we had a red flag that caused all sorts of drama, and I think I told Pal as well that anything can happen. There could be a red flag, there could be this, there could be that. And in the end, it did actually take place. So yeah, some of those moments. I think I loved the Jaden and Nick battles in Portugal as well. I remember that one. That was incredible. We started the season. It was we started the season with Formula 2 and Formula 1 on the same weekend. That's where we ran 2 sprint races on Saturday, race on Sunday. But that was incredible to see Nick and Jaden go side by side, go wheel to wheel. Lovely stuff. And what a way to start the season. You already knew that you were going to be in for a thrilling title fight. And that continued, I think, on the Sunday as well, where we came from a red flag and then we had a dive bomb for the lead at turn 5. So I can even remember that moment, commentating on it, even if it was a few years ago. That was absolutely incredible. I think the Chicago race, to be fair, that I did for Formula 1, the one I filled in, that was absolutely brilliant. I loved that as well. So yeah, we've had some absolute great moments over the years, and I'm probably forgetting couple as well. There's just been so much, especially across Formula 1. But yeah, I did love some of those absolutely incredible moments, and even covering stuff like the Porsche Super Cup and karting and all of that was fun. And to be fair, even I have to say, the 2-hour race that we had, of course, earlier this year that took place, that was quite a lot of fun to cover, and quite a lot of chaos as well in that one at Canada, with a last lap move for the win after Jager lost that one. So we've had some great moments.
That's great to hear. I'm just going to give you a little bit of time as I try to remember my follow-up question, as I did have one and it's just slipped out of my mind.
No worries. I can continue talking for a bit more, but yes, the amount of moments that we've had is absolutely incredible. There is just too many to pick from, and I'm forgetting some of the ones that I absolutely loved.
There we go.
Also, back then, you remember? There we go. You can ask now.
If you'd like to keep continuing, though, I'm very interested.
Oh, okay, no worries. Yeah, I was just about to say quickly. So back then, of course, when we first started covering a little bit of this, I had to sit down, of course, which isn't really my commentary style, and I've had to do that at some points this year as well because it's clicking onto the right drivers and doing all of that. So sometimes you do need to sit down, but then you rock it. Absolutely extraordinary. I had to do that in the years where I commentated off the laptop. So that was the early season. That was the ones where I'm talking about the season 1, season 2, season 3, the early part of everything. And when I was, and of course I had to sit down, especially on the laptop, because standing up is really hard with that, and trying to screen and trying to work out what's happening. So I had to, of course, be seated for that one. But as soon as I see something absolutely extraordinary, I probably nearly fall or do something like that, jump up. I think I definitely remember. And one of the moments with the overtake at turn 5 at Portugal in the F2 feature race, and that's why I was able to just randomly bring that up. You might be thinking, why do I remember an overtake from a feature race randomly? We've had so many in PRL. But why do I specifically remember that one? Because it was audacious, it was late, and it got me out of my chair. So I think that's addition to that. But yes, I'll let you continue with your follow-up question.
Yes, thank you very much. Very interesting to hear from that. My follow-up was about when you said when you were league owner and how everything was really interesting at Baku with Q1, Q2, Q3. If you could return to PRL, not as a commentator, would you return as the former or brand new league owner of PRL?
Oh, I mean, I'm still technically the former owner. No, I wouldn't want to return as the new league owner. I wouldn't want that to happen again. I mean, there is a chance I could because, of course, Power would be stepping away. The league would be stepping away when GCSEs go on. But no, there would be a chance for me to do that. But no, I do not want to return back to that role. And I mean, considering that I probably am doubting I'll ever be back in this, I don't think it's the best idea if I decide to run the entire league. I don't think that would end up going too well. And I think we'd lose, and if that was to happen, I think we'd lose the main pillars anyway of the league when it comes to everyone doing their GCSEs. So, no, I wouldn't want to return back to that owner. If I'm going to return for anything, it's going to be commentary.
Um, I do think we do have a few more questions about commentary. Oh, this one from Jaden now. You've commentated on Jay forever since you start commentary back in 2021. What's the best performance you've seen by Jay?
Oh. I've seen, well, I've forgotten about half of them because they're races that I don't want to remember. Best performances. Well, I think with Jaden, the interesting thing is, of course, that a lot of things can go wrong in a race for him. But I have commentated on some incredible performances from him as well. Picking one is too hard. Picking one is slightly too hard, I think. So we're gonna give it a few. To be fair, I was impressed with one of the Assetto Corsa races that I was commentating on him in Melbourne. The way after he took the win, he just dominated it and kept the win. And I think that's one of the main things, being able to take it and just dominate and keep it all the way through. But yeah, picking one in PRL is going to be slightly difficult. There's been so many across so many different categories as well. It's not just F1. We have F2, F3. I should say. That's what it was called. Yeah, it was called back then. So slightly hard. I think we'll go with this for there. I think we'll go for China from this season. I think as one of them. I think when he joined as well, some of his performances in F2 were absolutely incredible. And we've had some great performances in F1 as well. But yeah, there's a races where I don't really keep them in my memory because it's not ones that I want to remember. I love close racing, and those are really get the most of close racing, did we?
We do have a follow-up from that about racing from Jaden again. Your main concentration has been commentating in Formula 2, but if you had the chance or the choice, would you want to commentate on any of the exciting F1 races? and if they had the same amount of battling going on as F2, or would you, stick down and stay with F2?
My question is that for PRL or is that for real life? Which, to be fair, we could get an answer to that in the chat. So PRL, okay, yeah, I've just been told PRL. And that's the lucky thing because they're recording this for us. Get that question answered very quickly. But yes, PRL. Huh. Well, I think the main thing is just look at how many F1 there is. And actually, to be fair, we've also put in the boot that I think one of the speeches or something that we've put from Power is it's 26 weeks a season on average. So that is a lot. That is just lots of back-to-back. And, the great thing about F2 was not only do I really love it in real life, but the great thing also was that a few weeks off here, there's a few weeks off there, then you have a race, then you have a double header keeping the energy going, then a few weeks back to back to back for 26 straight. So I think that was the main factor. I could have possibly covered F1 had it slightly similar. But yeah, that's the thing. I of course found myself Formula 1 and only doing Formula 2. But in terms of the battles, I mean, I'm sure Formula 1 has good battles. I mean, the race I did in Chicago, absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it, the one I did in Chicago. So, yeah, I know F1 is going to have good battles. That's where we've seen most of the historical moments in PRL, if I'm honest. Not F2, not any of the others. Formula 1 is where we've had it. Those are the ones where we've had the iconic moments where I remember commentating off that laptop and shouting at the screen and all of those amazing moments that we've had as well. So, most of them do come from Formula 1. So, yeah, I think incredibly fun being able to cover that race in Chicago. Scheduling, and to be fair, now I can't. Now I don't even do. Week F1 contest is slightly out of the question a bit more now.
So we do have another question from student. It seems like they just keep rolling in, where it feels like I'm picking from a hat at this point. Student has just asked, if you had to pick one, which driver would you miss most commentating on?
Oh, that is a interesting question and cold question. Right, okay, let's get into it. Now it's the time where I need to try and not forget anyone. Okay, well, here we go. Deep breath. Let's try to do this. Now, number one, let's just start let's just start removing people. First of all, Jaden. He is not going to be, well, he's immediately out of the question. He's immediately not going to be included because I still commented. From next week, I'm commenting twice a week. Yeah, from next week I'm commentating on him twice a week, and I'm even commentating on him today as well. Let me just add. So he's already out of the question, so I don't need to involved in it, as I still commented on him. So he's already out of that. Right, let's look through. So I think we'll go with Pal next. With Pal. Now, when I did mention some of those unpositive moments earlier on, I think some from him, I think he was the one who also did interrupt when it came to the... yeah, he was the one who did interrupt when it came to winning Monza. So he interrupted then, and I think, of course, he was the one who mostly used the radio, so I think he kind of set that little annoying taste, which probably did, well, which did get on my nerves back then, where he was interrupting, but I think especially after the Baku weekend, that I wasn't enjoying it, no one was enjoying it, changes were made, and then we actually got in a good radio system. We actually were able to get in something that actually worked. It meant that I wouldn't be interrupted. I could go to radios when I felt like it, when I wanted. So I think he realised that. But that first early bit did kind of annoy me with that one. And then I think also I do have to mention some of the pre-race stuff. Commentators just like to be left alone, doing their own thing, getting everything prepared. I mean, I'm literally running around. I'm literally running around getting things set up. It's always frenetic. It's always frenetic before a probably have just woken up. You're trying to eat something quickly. You're just trying to do that. You're just trying to do this, and running around left and right, and all I can hear is him asking me questions or singing something, and I think that bit was slightly annoying as well, I have to say, from Pal. But yeah, that is the main thing, I think, with Pal. I'll be honest, he would be my pick, just because I've commentated on him. So Nick and Mega, they of course I covered them in the early part, and then they of course don't do it anymore. Harrison's another driver who came in, but he wasn't there in the early part. Pal is a driver who I've done all the way from the start, all the way up until now. So if it wasn't for his off-track shenanigans, I think it would be him, because of course you have those moments. And I think with Pal, the critical thing is, I think he always reminded me of that audacious driver, of that one who maybe a few laps down, he'll just do the R10 Markolo and somehow end up winning. It was just, if someone's gonna bring a shock here, it's gonna be him. He may be on the laggy laptop, but he'll still somehow maybe end his way to the front by the end of the checkered flag, and you are absolutely left stunned. How did that happen? So I think if it wasn't for that, then I think he would get it. But yeah, a few of those off-track stuff as well, and some of the stuff some of the off-track stuff I think is going to cost him that title for me, which I'm not going to give to one person. I'm not going to give it to one person. As I mentioned, it's too hard to decide. I think it's fair if I give it to three of the main ones who competed for a long time, and ones which gave me a lot of celebration moments. Quickly on Logo as well, I wasn't able to commentate on much of his success. I never could say the phrase "and Logo wins," or I couldn't of course do that for Bella either. So I'm of course doing the main drivers who've been here and are currently here as well. But yeah, some of the former drivers I've not mentioned as well. There's so many of them. There's so many. But I think with Logo, I never got to commentate on him winning, so if there is going to be a name that unfortunately disappears, it will be him. But honestly, he was that one driver who I really did want to see win a race, and I always wanted to see that phrase, having commentated on him the entire season. I wanted to say Logo wins, and then with Bella, well, in F2, the one which I was covering, she retired from most of the races till she retired overall from the category. So the three I'll give you is Nick, Mega, and Harrison, as of course they've been the main people who've been doing the success stuff when it's come to all of these championships, and they are the ones who I definitely will miss commentating on a lot, because I had to, of course, say their names quite a bit. But special shout out to Pal. I think overall he would have got it had it not been for some of the off-track stuff this season.
Okay. Since we have not heard from Pal for so long, I have just had another 6 questions come through from student. Oh, I've just seen what we're going to leave that to the end, as that asks you to do a requirement. So from Pal, he is now asking, if you did race in any of these seasons, do you think you could become a champion?
If I did racing in any seasons?
Yes.
Oh. Nah. I think we've got talented, as I mentioned, Mega, Nick, Harrison. We've got the talented drivers here. We're not gonna, don't think that was gonna happen. It was easy. It was easy back then, doing it in the IWH League. To be fair, I have a better shot of winning on F1 24 than I do on Roblox. I think, I do have a better shot of winning that, which I have won, but I'm saying in terms of more competitiveness. With Roblox, not really. It's never been really my style. However, I was quite impressed. Where I matched Pal's time in one of the F1 sessions this season, and I think I remember him saying that. What was it? I think it was basically me setting a lap time and then sending it. How I was, I think about maybe a little bit faster. And then him saying, "Oh yeah, well I'm only 2/10 off without corner cutting." Well, I'm like, well, I didn't corner cut either. I kept it on the road. But yeah, I think that was one of the only impressive moments. But that was on one circuit. It's not going to happen on the other multiple circuits. But I just have a feeling I may have been able to, with how PRL has been over the years. I feel like I may have just been able to sneak into a championship in some category. No, maybe not F1. Maybe F2 or some other series where I just attend every week. Because, I mean, I commentated I was there for every F2 session. So, you know, maybe I could have just sneaked my way in. And maybe I may have had a slightly higher chance than you, maybe note, of winning the F2 title. If I just get in those thirds, those fourths, and maybe I could have beaten Jaden to it, but yeah, a bit of pace, a bit of practice. But the thing is, I will never know whether I could have been a champion because I never put in the effort. I just whenever I drove, I did it for fun, and I never actually put in the effort. I never actually did anything, so I wouldn't know. I would not know whether I'd be able to compete with some of the best. I think maybe if I did it back here, maybe if I started racing in 20, which to be fair, I did. But if I continued, then maybe there was a chance. Maybe there was a chance I could have, in some category at least.
Okay. So student, please stop sending me messages. Mega, we do have one from Mega now. He's asking back on the lines of drivers. Who do you think is the best driver that has driven in PRL?
Best driver overall that's driven in PRL.
Yes, I believe so.
Hmm.
Very hard question.
That is
Good question, to be fair.
a who asked that again?
It was Mega.
Brilliant. Champion question by a champion. Uh,
Very nice guy as well.
this is the hard one. This is the hard one. Best
It's a
driver
lot
to
harder.
overall complete. I think I have to put it. I think I have to. I think if we look at championships, because literally in PRL, everything is based off titles. And if you don't have a title, you have a very famous zero title phrase next to your name. So I think I'm gonna have to give it to, as titles are so important, I'm gonna have to then consider giving it to to that possibly do find themselves with the high numbers of Nick and Harrison. But man, Mega was also so quick as well. Should I just? I think the the thing is the title Mega one was absolutely brilliant. The title Nick one was brilliant, and also Harrison. I mean, he's wiped the floor with the field this year in Formula One. I haven't commentated on it, but he's just been so dominant. He's been doing it for so long. Once again, you're gonna get three. You're gonna get the same three: Nick, Mega, Harrison.
Um, I would say though that is probably not the hardest question, as we see student with so many but such hard questions. Let's try and move on to
Okay.
some of them actually. Um, one here, probably one of the easier ones, but
Yes,
what was the most
every single question.
annoying? Oh. One of the easier questions from student would be, what was the most annoying part of deving?
Oh, everything. Uh, the interesting bit of it, literally everything. I think the most annoying part though has to be update 2020 cars. Answer very quickly answered.
That sound very hard to be fair, because in a way I remember Jay saying there was 50-50 chances that he would either get the upgrades or it'd be buggy. So I can definitely agree with you on that one.
Oh yeah. Also quickly, there was a few occasions where the cars did bug. So of course, every time I finished developing them, after I finished developing them, I would in Roblox Studio, I'd go in the play function. So in the Roblox Studio, I would test and see if they're all working. And there was a few occasions where it didn't work, but there was a few occasions I managed to edit that. I managed to change and it started working. Then I put it in game occasion. But I think that tells you how hard it would be for Jaden, especially considering he hasn't done it before. To say I think I messed it up about it from when we properly. Yeah, but I started getting better, but of course I always had to check and make sure that it all the way throughout the season.
As now I've just said, Jay basically begging to get back on the F1 category and F2. I'll just say the next two questions from him. His first one is, what is your favourite championship battle that you've commentated on in F1, or would it be F2?
Lovely. Um, I'll give you. I'll give you 2. I think. I think Jaden and Nick. While Jaden may not have a title, man was those racing brilliant. To say that it came down to the last laps in championship battles. Nick versus Jaden in basically everything they battled for a title for, and also I'm gonna give it to Mega and Nick as well for their absolutely incredible title fight that they also had. I'm probably forgetting some titles right now, but yeah, those are my main 2 that come to mind right now.
Okay. Last one for Jaden is probably one of the longest questions so far, but definitely most likely one of the hardest, I would guess. But here's Jaden's. You've been in this league since it had started and also the ones before. If you had the choice, would you go back in time and commentate the F1 races like Germany with over 10 people? Would you rather stay now where there are less crashes and also wheel to wheel, like sometimes? Bruh.
Honestly, I think the simple answer to that is I got to experience that time live. Every single every single season different. I think, and I got to experience those racing it from my laptop and brilliant. Just loved that. I loved that at the time. Now we got a bit of a different thing on, of course, which of course I'm not a part of anymore. Yeah, it is. It is something that I cover forever. It's something that I'll get to cover for. It'll be. I'm sure I'll be able to cover exciting championships. Hopefully throughout my future years as well. But yes, I wouldn't want to go back. I think I loved the way I did it back then. Of course, the commentary would be better now, but it was the way it was. I did it back then in the way I did. The driving at the time was like that. But yeah, it would have been nice though to experience. I'd say I'll give you something. I do wish to call one more race from that time with the same drivers. But yeah, the ones that we did get to cover, and I want to leave them as part of the amazing history.
Okay, so here we go back to Mega, I believe. I'm not sure if you
Yeah,
said
we have
this yet.
yeah, we have loads of questions. Sorry, no, we have loads of questions remaining still, I believe, to our little producer that we've got, Jin. So we're just gonna continue cracking on, won't we, Note?
We went through at least 3/4 of them, so I'm pretty happy with time right now. Don't mind cutting over however much time. Over to Mega. I'm not sure if you said this yet because I've been so immersed in all your responses to all of these questions. But Mega has asked, what your favourite memory of him has been throughout all these seasons.
Oh, that is a lovely one. That's a lovely one. But yeah, I think I want to, but quickly before I answer that question, I want to answer absolutely every question everyone has sent in. So it doesn't matter how long it takes, I will give you a good and detailed answer. Which, to be fair, some people will go, "Well, I asked for one driver." But yeah, but it's just so hard sometimes to answer. But I am trying my best to answer every question to the best it can be. But Mega's one. It has to be the championship, doesn't it? It has to be him coming across the line and being the championship. And also, I think a special shout out to seeing him come in earlier this year on a few occasions as well and get to commentate on that. Brilliant. I think it was for the Indy 500.
Ah,
Loved that. But the championship has to be my favourite moment of him.
great to hear. So, I believe we have fully narrowed down the questions all the way down to Student and Bry. Other than that, all we've got is the messages. So, start off with Bry since we actually haven't heard from him yet. Been very quiet. But his first question is, what season did you enjoy
We
watching
got
the
one
most?
from Bry, I think.
We've got 2 from Bry actually.
Oh, Oh, I already answered that question of Bryce.
Did you? Oh, I'm sorry. Moving on to his second question then.
Yeah, no.
He has asked, what do you think you can or will see in your future as a commentator?
Um, I don't know. Mainly just gonna continue. And we'll see where it gets me. As I mentioned, our producer is saying meeting Alex Jakes. I think I could manage that even if I wasn't a commentator. I think I would achieve that at some point. But yeah, this year I think I've got some exciting stuff. As I mentioned, I might be going to Silverstone to actually commentate from their commentary boxes later this year, so that might be happening. So yeah, exciting stuff coming up. I don't know where it'll land me. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see where the future does lead. Of course, my goal, my hope, my dream would be to be covering the stuff on the F1 weekend, the F2s, the F3s, the Porsches, including F1 as well. I would love to commentate those championships along with. I'd also want to do a bit of FRECA, GBT, and all of these championships that I'm also doing right now, but I want to do them on the World Feed in the future. So I think those definitely will be the goals. Whether I get there or not, commentary is a competitive space. Don't know.
Okay, so we have now narrowed it down all the way down to just student with his 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 questions. So Pound Student did have the same question, so I thought I'd just put them together. But they both ask what your favourite race has been.
Favorite races? Well, I did kind of answer this earlier on as well. I think there was 3 people who probably asked that then in that case. But yeah, favorite races. There's just been too many. As I mentioned, just some of the ones from the early season. So yeah, I think we'll move on as I have given my answers to that. But yeah, as a reminder, just some of the early ones that we were able to see all of the title deciders and all of those. So yes, I knew that was going to be a frequently asked question about championships. So I thought we fully already navigated it. But yeah, great to see more and more people asking that. But yes,
Yeah,
we'll move on.
of course. Kind of feel bad now since I did say I checked thoroughly through these questions. But seems like we have a few to tick off. So student is as well asking, how is it like filling in on an F1 broadcast at Chicago randomly last season?
That was chaotic. That was crazy though. That was fun. So of course I did the F2 feature race. I was involved. I was already there at the weekend. I was involved. We all know why Jaden couldn't do it. We all, of course, had that situation. I was there, so once the stream did stop, I immediately picked it back up. Thank you, of course, to all the drivers who delayed the race by a couple of minutes, so I could actually quickly just very quickly. I only had a minute or two, but a minute or two. My final ever race start for F1 and PRL. So I of course got to do that. So loved that race. The start was very interesting. We then got to the red flag, if we all remember. Then of course we had the second start to the race. So the red flag restart made an absolutely beautiful start to take the lead, and I went absolutely wild on that. And then the race was just brilliant all the way through. You had the brilliant battling. So one of the great F1 races of the season. I'm sure loads of actions, loads of shouting in that as well, and it was great to do F2 and F1 both on the same day after a while as well. So it was a bit of a memory as well doing all of that. Of course, only F2 and F1 back then. We used to have so much going on as well, but yeah, at least it gave me a little bit of the memory that we had having F2 and F1 both racing and me doing both of them as well when it came to the commentary. So absolutely loved that, and it was great. It was great. Of course, I'm sure Jaden would have loved to have commentated it, and he would have hoped that that circumstance didn't happen, but that circumstance did allow me to come in and enjoy my final ever Formula 1 race. It wasn't my final ever Formula 1 session. I got to cover the Monaco qualifying, but the race, that was my final ever one. So loved being a part of that, and a beautiful race to call as well. Luckily, I wasn't put in one of the ones that weren't the most interesting, for example, like Monaco, the final race, but I was put in one of the exciting ones. So lovely to fill in, and a great memory as well for me leaving PRL in terms of my final ever F1 race.
Okay, that is still amazing to hear from you. So we are now down to the final two questions. This last question will probably be one of the most hardest, but it'd be fun for you. So we'll do this second to last with what are the positives of not calling PRL next season in terms of your personal life?
Um, let's less notes. Um, more voice being saved. And of course, as I mentioned, I'm covering GB3 and all of those extra championships that I'm able to cover. Or I would have had a nightmare. I would have had a nightmare. Basically, I think it's also important to mention, had I done F2 this season, we had a plan where, like Alex Jakes in real life took a few rounds of F2 off this year and Chris McCarthy filled in. So I would take a few rounds off and Jaden would fill in. But then we would have got to that situation where I would have to... There would be a big nightmare. There's a couple of weeks where I have so many commentaries back to back to back with Frecker, F2, F3, GB3, Italian F4, Euro 4. They're all scattered across different weeks. I'm having to miss. Let me just add. I'm having to miss GB3 from round 1 to round 6. Well, no. I do round 1. I miss round 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I come back round 6. That's just due to how much GB3 is clashing with Formula 3 and Formula 2. I missed a few rounds. I missed about half of Frecker this year. I miss about half of Italian F4, and I don't miss anything of Euro 4, but they only have 3 rounds. So it would have been a nightmare. I'd have to miss so much PRL, considering how much I'm having to miss of the other series I'm doing this year. So yeah, I'm already having to miss a lot. So I think that's really helpful, not having to worry about PRL, of course. Also, none of the development bit. Oh, that's the best. That's the best bit about not doing PRL. None of the developing bit. It's not Thursday. It's not. You're not having to rush and quickly get cars in or update the cars or do any of that. It's chilling now and it's all amazing. And of course, as I mentioned, just a bit on weekends where I'm not commentating, I just get to enjoy a bit of personal time and relax as well. I think with PRL, one of the main things I had last season was I was supposed to have break weeks at points, but F2 was the PRL F2 was on that week, so that would have that ruined it, and it meant that I had crazy like 14 15 weeks of commentary straight. So I was creating a bit of a streak that was going on. But yeah, with I think that won't be better this season. I don't think. I think when we get to the proper season, I'm still going to be having that streak. But it does mean that I've got 3 sessions released from my schedule at least, and not having to deal with the annoying roadblocks at times as it sometimes plays up. But yeah, it's slightly easy. To everything, just a bit more relaxed, just a bit being used, and I can put in some of the more effort and notes and everything to the other categories that I will still be calling.
Right, that is absolutely amazing. So, for this final question, I do ask that if you can do it, it is put at the very end of this broadcast, as it is a bit of trouble, I would say. So, student has asked, could you please commentate the opening lap of the F2 PRL race this season from Laguna Seca, just so we can see how good it would have been to have you on comms? The sprint race, not the feature.
Oh. Yeah, I think that would be actually a good way to wrap it up. I wasn't expecting to be commentating until about 7 p.m. later, but yeah, we can make it work. Okay, well, now we've got our producer. We have our producer. So I'm just gonna. I don't think we need anything from you, Jaden. All you need to tell me is the grid. I'm gonna open it on my screen and I'm just gonna commentate on it, and everyone will just hear it. I think that's how it's gonna work. But yeah.
I can try
So
and find the link for you if you'd like.
I think our producer is. I think our producer. Sorry, no. I think our producer has got it open for us right now. All I'll need to know is the grid of how they all line up. So
2:05.
and then once we figure that out, we can actually give it a go of broadcasting.
Very good opening for Laguna Seca, though, I can tell you now. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna. Okay, well, I guess I'll get to commentate a lap of this. Well, the producer's saying, what's the order? Well, I don't even know who's in which car, so I kind of need a bit of assistance here from the F2 commentator from Laguna Seca. But yeah, that's what happens. I wasn't able to catch any of the action last week. I wasn't able to catch any of the action from last week.
Um,
So yes, I'd need to know the grid and the and what car everyone's in.
I believe it was me P1, Powell P2, Harrison P3, Logo P4.
Okay. Why are we using this camera angle? Was something wrong with the normal spectating one? I'm guessing.
Yeah. So we don't have any. We don't
Oh.
have the timing system anymore, and we do not have the camera system. Sorry.
So note P. So what I'm being told by the F2 commentator, notes P1 Power second. And right now the producer's asking, who's your teammate in F2 note?
It was Logo. Yeah, he was believed to be P4, just behind the pack. The difference. I'm pretty sure there's a difference in between our cars, as one car has a little red and white stripe at the back, and one doesn't.
Okay, so we are saying it's Note in first, Powell's in second, Harrison third, and Logo is in fourth position. Well, with these camera angles, I'm probably gonna mistake the Tridents at some point, and well, this is an interesting combination you've got. You've got the two car. You've got Note and Logo both in similar cars, and you've got Paladin, and of course you've also you've got Note and Harrison, I should say, also in similar ones. So it's very interesting this, and lots has changed since I commentated it. But yes, I think we're going to now get the chance in a few moments. 1 second.
As I just say now, as you are trying to pop it up, that any mistakes are fine, as it took Jaden about half of the race just to figure out which car was which.
Okay, well, in that case then, you've got Noten first, you've got Pal in second, Harrison, and then Logo. So I'm guessing that's the order that we are going with. Okay, well, it is time! The new season is about to begin! And Formula 2 leaves the line in Laguna Seca, and we're racing in Season 8. Good launch off the line from the pole sitter. Note will try and maintain the lead. Logo is trying to put the pressure on. Can he go the long way round of Sir Harrison McLaren? Down towards the first corner. Who is going to have the lead into Wildstyle number 1? It's going to be Note, who converts pole position. Power runs wide as off the road. In the background goes Logo. The Tridents are side by side momentarily. Only for a moment though, as Logo tries to move up to the final spot on the podium. He's trying to get to the rostrum. He's trying to now make the move as the two Tridents go side by side once again. It is still going to be Note with the lead, as we still do battle. What a start to the season this is between the two teammates of Powell. Right now finding himself moving in front. Is he going to be able to keep the position? The Tridents still run wheel to wheel, and you've got Logo trying to get involved as well. This is absolutely frenetic action, but Note I'd say, but yes, I guess you got it out there.
Was
Lovely stuff.
absolutely phenomenal. Like, I'm speechless. But here we are, having to move on to the messages. Is there any certain order you'd like me to put in? Because I do have a special request for a certain driver to have his said last. So if that clashes with any sort of order you would like, then I'll try and work around it.
You can do it from what you consider is the least emotional to the most emotional. Every message will mean the most to me, though. I think I've got to get that clear. But I guess we'll do it in that order. But every message will mean the most, and yeah, we'll go one by one. I'll give a response as well, and yeah, Well, I believe we had a bit of a Wi-Fi issue, so my call kind of cut out of the F2 opening lap. But yes, I hope that was satisfying enough. Of course, I couldn't fully do it. I mean, as a commentator, I was thrown right in there when you want to have the build up and all of that. So, with that, hopefully everyone was definitely happy with what I was able to deliver, and me calling something of this F2 season as well. Okay, well, should we just get on with the messages then?
Yeah, of course. Since the special request is at the top, I'll start from the very bottom, which is mine, I believe. Sadly, we did not get any messages from Shan, Bella, or Harrison, I don't think, if I have a look. Give me 10 seconds. Yep. So it's just me, Pal, Student, Nick, Mega, Bry, Jaden. Okay, lovely. So
That's a
with
lot.
mine, it'll be fine, I'm sure. I've only been here a handful of seasons, but I can say without a doubt, it's been a handful of seasons that have really put some sense into me. I joined anxious and scared that I wouldn't be very good in the season, but I soon realised that it was more fun than strict in a way. As those seasons flew past, I started to realise my friendship with Paul, Logo, Harrison, Jay, Bella, Shan, and you all got very close, which made me feel really happy. But since the release with your news of resigning out of the blue, I haven't really felt too happy, but I understand that all good things come to an end, but why now? Even though my feelings are like this, I do wish you the best of luck and all the luck I could give. I haven't been here as long as Pal, Nick, Jay, or Mega, but I can say I somewhat share their feelings towards the resignation. I really do wish you the best in the future and hope to see you trackside screaming your heart out like Crofty at Brazil in 2019. Best wishes, note. Oh, that was a tongue twister.
Well, that is absolutely extraordinary stuff. Such a great message. And if we're starting off with that, I wonder how the rest are going to be. But my word, that was phenomenal. That was absolutely phenomenal. And yes, it will. It's unfortunately sad. I think when Alex Jake stepped down from F2, I did the exact same. I was like, why now? Why not maybe in another year or something? But yeah, it always had to happen at some point, and 7 seasons is more than enough, as I mentioned. And it will be hard for everyone to get used to, but it's a decision that I definitely haven't made just like that. It was a decision which I made early on, but it was a decision that I questioned all throughout the entire as well. But all good things, as you mentioned, do have to come to an end. But thank you for the message. Note, absolutely brilliant. And yes, while of course you may also be a part of that zero title club at this stage, as I like to refer to, the title challenge in F2 this year, and all of the amazing moments as well, all of the great racing and everything that you have produced years for me to watch has been phenomenal. And well, I have told Jaden that if you win a title, something like that happens, I would like to know. Some of the old drivers I used to commentate on who were struggling and weren't able to get that title finally do get it. It definitely does make that moment even more special later down the line. But yes, thank you. Of course, you've also been a brilliant host for this, I have to mention, but also all of the driving and all of the moments you have produced over the years. Brilliant, and a very kind message also to go with it.
That is very good to hear. Thank you. That made me feel very emotional. So I'm gonna try and dig down and keep this type of voice I've got going on before breaking out into tears. But here's Pal's message. I met you in 2021 joining a certain guy who we shall not name, called Mr. CC. And I remember the F2 sprint and getting stuck in Gear 4 all race, and then it went to Baku, and that pole start Monza, my win, my glory, as you commentated, and was rooting for me at the end. And then I remember the moment I was champion, and the quotes, the memories. But honestly, you've been a legend in PRL. Not only the voice of PRL, but also the heart of PRL. And you started the heart and kept it pumping until I took over, and even still you put effort in. Even when I asked, I wished you luck in the future career, and hopefully see you in actual F1 tracks, but working.
Lovely, lovely stuff there from Pal as well. Who, yes, I have mentioned a few things this broadcast, which of course I didn't find the most best from him. But of course, the main thing was he changed it early on, and we could get on and we could continue all of this and make all of these amazing moments. And even if some things haven't gone fully to plan, in my opinion, this season, you have to consider all the way to the start where I let him in. And I think, as the student account mentioned in his story, he was getting rejected from other league owners. Loads of leagues were running back then. I let him in. He decided, and that led to all of this happening in reality, really, as well. I stepped down a couple of times, and he was the person who picked up the reigns as well as owner, and it was great to also just continue commentating on him throughout. And as I mentioned, I think the main thing you have to consider is, even if we just remove all of this right now, talking about the ownership, and just look on circuit, because remember, he has been a driver all the way through, and of course he's had a few stints where he's dropped down to reserve, etc., but he's just been driving mostly for the majority, a little bit of time where he stepped down to reserve. But in the he has kind of reminded me. He has kind of reminded me of the Artem Markelov. The Artem Markelov where you are getting the most audacious, the most unbelievable, the most crazy races taking place, and he just fully, when in reality, it shouldn't be happening. And just some of those moments where he randomly arrived and ended up as the winner, and that was absolutely incredible to watch. And some of those overtakes that he's pulled off, some of the race starts as well, more lately, I think he's been known for. The race starts, the laps down to the lead. Unbelievable. That's why he kind of reminds me of the Artem Markelov style, and that's something that Alex Jakes holds closely to his heart as well. And we'll remember Artem Markelov for. He even mentioned that in his goodbye interview, kind of like this. So I think I'm gonna always remember Pal as well for those audacious, crazy, wild stuff that just isn't supposed to happen, but did happen.
Alright, so here we move on to student with very long message, almost as much as his questions, but here we are. Huge thank you, Omi, for the amazing commentaries over the year. It's not even your commentating, it's mostly you just being here. A key thing to remember is none of this would have been happening without you deciding to create a game that was used by the terrible IWH League. But I'm happy some great memories were able to just be created after. You being with us just completed PRL for everyone, and not having you here means a huge pillar of the league is gone. The one and only dream I have is that not one day you come back and say hello. I'm not too upset about missing your commentary now. I've had a thought and remembered that in a few years you'll be the commentator of the year, commentating on F1, F2, F3, and the Porsche Super Cup. Thank you for being a huge part of PRL's history. There's a reason why you have your own role being your name. Thank you for being their friend and mine. Your presence brought so much joy and energy to our community. Best of luck going forward and upwards. I know you'll have a crowd standing around you offering you contracts to make you their voice of their series. And remember, you'll be at the top before you know it, even before Freddie Slater makes it to F1. Safe travels, as you'll need that travelling around the world to cover the best motor racing events. Final thing to say is, remember us at PRL and hope to see you in an F1 paddock one day. Goodbye.
Lovely speech, lovely message as well. Lovely Freddie Slater, lovely Freddie Slater reference. Sorry to break your heart, but I think Freddie Slater, the earliest you could pop in F1 is 2027. Don't think I'll be there by then. Maybe latest 2029 for Freddie Slater, but is the latest for Freddie Slater. But yeah, I think he'll manage to get to F1 before. But who knows? Who knows? What's written? I didn't really expect to possibly have the chance, or maybe even comment at trackside this year. But it looks like things are moving forward. But honestly, it does mean the world as well to receive some of these messages. Really, definitely a great one from student account. And yes, being a part of PRL has meant the world. And also, we've had a lot of drama with fans and all sorts. But I don't know where it is without all of the drama, without all of the chaos and the action behind the scenes as well. And I guess someone, at least, who always did enjoy my commentary and struggles when I'm not commentating on races. But yes, a huge part of PRL, and I'm sure that he will. Well, he's already started taking a look at some of my other stuff as well. So I think student account is going to be absolutely loving that. Being able to hear me commentate on other stuff, but who knows? Maybe I might be getting to commentating on some other big events. Who knows? Maybe I might be commentator of the year one day. But that is a very kind message. And yeah, hopefully I do get to see people like him someday in the paddock as well. And also, I mentioned this yesterday in the Road Racing Convention walk, but just a quick mention. I just wanted to, of course, I forgot this in my F2 final speech. So if you aren't watching, if you didn't watch it yesterday, I did forget this at the ending of my goodbye F2 speech. I did say thank you everyone, but I think I specifically needed to mention the people who didn't enjoy my commentary, because there was a couple of individuals, as I described yesterday, who weren't the biggest fans of it. But even thank you to them as well. And well, one of them goes by, and this isn't me calling him, this is just really what is his nickname right now, the idiot, who I'm sure who was celebrating a lot when I put the microphone down in Monaco. The celebration he got to have was absolutely unbelievable, and he's also continuing to celebrate and loving this interview, that I will not be a part of PRL any longer. And I'm sure that, well, Jaden has announced that he's quitted FT commentary, so he's slightly sad about that, because he didn't want me shouting. He wanted Jaden's calmness behind the microphone as well, which every commentator has their different style, and I'm fine with him not liking it, because at the end of the day, I can't please everyone, and that's just quite simply how it works in the commentary business as well. But yes, all of the hateful comments, all of those moments, even thank you to him.
Response to student's message, I found that very heartwarming. Not sure who to choose between Mega and Nix, as they're both pretty emotional, but I can say it's definitely one that stands out the most. We'll start off with Nick, as he's most likely sent it through before Mega. My best memories in this league was when me and Jay used to fight about who won races, and being able to constantly get each other penalties while Power just watched from the side. I miss being able to do it, which makes it even harder to have to say goodbye to you. We've had lots of memories together, and I can say I enjoyed every one of them. Thank you for being the best commentator you could have been. Thank you for being in my life. From your dearest friend, Nick.
Oh, that is utterly kind as well from Nick. One of the best to ever drive in this league as well. Loads of people consider that. But yeah, some of the memories, he brought my commentary to life as well. He delivered some of those moments that got me excited, that got me to all of these commentaries that people love these days. And being a part of it was brilliant, and getting the pleasure to commentate on Nick. As I mentioned, one of the main drivers that I'll miss when it comes to not commentating on him anymore. And to be fair, I have missed him just commentating on him anyway in general over the last few months as well. So yes, a huge thank you, of course, to absolutely everything, and a brilliant message to go with. And of course, we did have a few moments. I'm sure everyone did have a few moments drama and all sorts that was going on, but all of it was just a part of. I absolutely loved being part of that and being a little bit of a part of success as well, and getting to bring his success to life to the viewers.
That is absolutely amazing. So I scroll up and I see we have Bryce as well. So let's go over Bryce before Mega. You've commentated on me for a while, and I've grew with your commentating, becoming a better and better driver. So it's hard to see you go after such good seasons we've had. I really am gonna miss you, and I wish you well at your new league. Very short message, but very nice, I would say.
Very short, but gets the message across. Note that was brilliant from Bry as well. A driver who I wish we saw a little bit more of, but with this time zone, it made it slightly hard. As I mentioned, I always, when I woke up and there was a race on that day, I always was like, oh, I hope Bry's awake. I hope we can get Bry racing with us. I hope he joins, because he always provided us with some of the incredible moments. And you may get some drivers dominating. Bry would come in and completely shuffle up the order and completely shuffle up how everything was running. I absolutely loved it as well. And he's a driver who I got to commentate luckily on so many different parts. I got to commentate on him on the early years. I got to commentate on him this year as well in the last few couple of appearances that he had in Formula 2. So he's a driver who we haven't seen all the time, but we've seen just scattered across nearly all the time I've been commentating. So for PRL, so lovely, and I will absolutely miss commentating on Bry as well. But I think there's one thing I wanted to get clear, and I think also on the boot it does also say this. Of course, at the time I put on the boot I put that I still haven't left it due to how much I love it, which I still love it, but after 7 seasons, enough is enough, I think. But as what's also written, if people go there and look at what's written, it would also show you that I've said that this will be my final ever Roblox League. So anywhere else community, I always wanted this to be my final ever Roblox League, and it will be my final ever Roblox League.
Okay. So our second to last message, which is about half the size of the final message, is from Mega. So here's Mega saying, it's been a really great time these last 4.5 years. I've had so much fun, and it was always nice to hear the commentary during the races. One thing I especially remember is commentary of you at the race I won at Austin, where I think it was Cedric that had the last lap puncture and I overtook him in the last sector to win the race.
Oh yeah.
You've always put
man.
a lot of energy in commentating and managing the different leagues we've both been a part of. I'm sad to see you leave, and I hope that you're going to do well. Farewell, Omi. You're Mega.
That is utterly kind from Mega, and man, yeah, I remember that. I literally remember that moment. Cedric had a puncture on the last lap at the US Grand Prix at Austin, Texas. I remember him coming down towards turn 12 after the back straight. He had a puncture, Mega gaining. It was an unbelievable moment. You had him trundling around, Mega getting closer and closer. Oh, well, he just reminded me of some of the memories as well, more of those memories, which I did want to mention, but I couldn't quite remember whether it was Cedric, so that's why I didn't want to say it, but yes, it was Cedric. It was such a major moment. I loved that moment, and that's another moment where I actually got out of my seat for that one, commentating off the laptop. Loved that moment. I'll always remember moments like that. And another thing I'll also remember as well was, I think one of the races it was the Qatar Grand Prix weekend, actually. It was the Qatar Grand Prix weekend. For real life 2021, so it returned back on that. The race that we had earlier on in the day had punctures, and then we went to the real life thing. Nothing was connected, nothing was it was a different circuit. We went to Qatar and we had punctures, so that was all. That's always something I'm just gonna randomly remember in my head, that I got to cover this amazing league, this amazing race which just had punctures left, right, center, and then we go to Qatar in real life and we also have punctures as well. So yeah, that will always be something I remember. But to mainly focus on Mega, because I've of course talked a bit about the Austin moment and also the amazing moments as well that we've had with the Qatar Grand Prix being connected a bit to PRL in that instant. But yeah, Mega, a brilliant driver, as I mentioned. One of the drivers I will absolutely miss broadcasting. Commentating on him winning the championship was absolutely brilliant. As I mentioned, that's my favourite moment of him as well. But I absolutely loved his work, always behind the wheel. Thrilling to watch. And how different would the league be had he not been a part of it? And also, I think I also need to give a quick mention. Broadcasting for his league also meant the world. I got the privilege in the early years. I remember one of the days where I actually had to miss a race because I was go-karting outside, but it was an absolute pleasure to call his league, call his races as well, brilliantly run by himself, and being a part of more drama and being a part of more chaos as well back then a few years ago. And so I got to actually know Mega and be with Mega in loads of different areas, whether it was the league I owned at the time, whether it's the now PRL, of course, which is basically the same thing, but yeah, it's had different owners, it's had league name change, but even to also call his own league as well on other platforms and on other games, really, I should say. So yeah, that meant the world to be able to do that with Mega. So I've had the pleasure of broadcasting with him and talking with him on so many different occasions, and even stuff like, for example, I remember one of the days where we went to Bayshore to come in and troll in the Roblox school game. All of us went, and then that, of course, created a bit of the Houghton memories when Bayshore shut and all of that. So loads of things have happened, and loads of things I will absolutely remember, and Mega was a part of it. And the great thing was, not only in PRL, but I was able to cover him on so many different levels when it came to Roblox racing and even be a part of his league. So yes, I will absolutely miss Mega, and I'll miss broadcasting on him and being with him and getting the opportunity to talk with him.
That is very, very, very good from you. That was amazing to hear. And here we come to the very final question, which I believe is one of the most heartwarming and saddening messages I've ever heard. And it's from the man that has been so kind, so respectful, so helpful with helping us with this interview. It's Jaden. So his message is, thank you for all these incredible years together. We've been friends from when we had high-pitched voices and we call all the time, which I enjoy. It's unfortunate that you have to go, but at some point all of us have to go. But hopefully you don't go forever and we still keep in contact. You've amazingly commentated from me first racing in Lawman Noob League to battling with Nick in F1 and F2 to witnessing me breaking records and making history in Formula 2. You have been an amazing commentator, not only in the PRL league but also the other leagues, and even when we are all on call and we are just practicing commentating, it is sad that you do have to go from PRL, but we still have Discord to keep in contact this year, and also hopefully next year, and to continue this friendship that has been going on for a while now. We have both witnessed together lots of stuff, including Isaac, the racist, getting banned, to battling Nick with me, to me absolutely dominating last season, winning too many races that I'm sure you enjoyed watching all, and also the F1 races in Lawman League. And also when you owned the old league and the races had so many drivers and you went crazy commentating it. I wish you all the best in the future for commentary in the other leagues if you do decide to do other league commentary. And also, most importantly, your goal trying to meet Alex Jakes. I'm sure you've enjoyed my dominance of Formula 2 and my overtakes, which has got you shouty a lot, and also other powers like Pal Vitno. I wish you all the best in the future.
That is utterly kind as well. Absolutely a great moment, and well, that is a lot to take in from that one message. Quite a long message. A lovely message there as well. And yes, got to cover Jaden on loads of levels. And it's not over. I still cover him, as I mentioned, twice a week from next week. I'm commentating on him later today as well. He's had to listen to me talk all the way through. And yeah, loads of kindness, loads of stuff. I mean, we're coming up to 1 hour 30 minutes. And he's just sat there, hearing me and you just talk for so long. And just sit there for 1 hour 30 minutes, just recording it. Absolutely unbelievable stuff. But yeah, on the circuit, he may never have got a title, but just the action that he was always able to deliver, the overtaking, the brilliant stuff that he was able to produce, even in the latest season, with some absolutely incredible overtakes that he put, even on U-Note as well. And just all of the battling with Nick for the titles, and the early part of the league where I couldn't believe it and everything was going wild, and I just couldn't stop shouting, and all of that was happening. And of course, yeah, I'm happy to say that we still remain in contact, and I don't think that's going to change. As I mentioned, as he's mentioned that he hopes it continues. I commented on him twice a week from next week, as I mentioned. So I don't think anything really changes with that. So as I mentioned, he is one of the drivers who I won't really miss commentating because I still commentate on him. So yeah, it'll most I have to properly say goodbye to, but wow, that is a brilliant message. And yes, hopefully Jaden also Pal and anyone else, and basically everyone achieves their dreams, whether it's Formula One or anything that they may want to be a part of.
That was amazing, as always. Agree with what you said about Jaden having amazing overtakes, but we do not talk about Miami when he went on the outside around the hairpin. That was embarrassing. But yeah, I think that was an amazing way to wrap off, unless there's anything any of you want to say about any thank yous or wanted to just wrap it up now. I'm fine being here a bit longer if there's anything else you want to do, or maybe have a little walk around the convention. All up to you, homie.
I think we'll wrap it up here as well. I'll say my final few words as well. But yes, Jaden right now just saying, basically just shouting what I said as well for Jaden's overtake on note as well. But wow, absolutely unbelievable stuff. Absolutely loved being part of it all the way through from the early years as well. Turning, what was IWH basically taking it fully over, creating a league, and it meant that IWH basically went fully out of business. Isaac came over to my league, so did everyone in his league. As I mentioned, we had about so many different leagues running on my game. All of them led over to RCP. All of them, doesn't matter if they competed in those leagues, they all came to this one big league that was taking place, RCP, and we created so many memories from that. Being able to voice so many different categories, being able to voice so much was absolutely brilliant. It absolutely did mean the world. And I would like to reiterate that what I said at the end of my final ever PRL commentary in Monaco. And I think it fits very well with this league about that. For a great sporting event, you basically do need two great contenders. Anything else is basically extra. And I think it works well with this league because we haven't had always the 20. We always haven't had the full grid. Well, we've had 2, we've had 3, 4... 3, 4 being, the 1 and 2 extra being the extra. It's been absolutely brilliant being a part of this amazing league all the way through. And once again, it's hard to say goodbye, but at the same time, 7 seasons, as we mentioned multiple times, is more than enough. And I hope for everyone in the league it won't be the last time that you get to hear me.
That is an absolutely amazing way to wrap up this interview. So here we are ending off the interview with Omi. Omi, thank you for being amazing as normal. Being able to come here or at the weekend just before you do any more commentating. So special thanks to you for being able to come out. And we are signing off here, me and Omi, with this interview. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.
F2 Sprint is tomorrow, and then the feature on Sunday, and both of them will be my final ones as a broadcaster for PRL.
We're underway for the championship. Jaden crosses the line to win the sprint at Australia.
Out crosses the line to win once again and do the double in Brazil. Pal wins for the first time in Formula 2. Jaden wins 7 races in a single season. It is going to be Harrison who takes victory. Now looking up and seeing the checkered flag first, Jaden wins at Fuji Speedway. But the moment has arrived for the ART man. Jaden is the Formula 2 champion. Jaden is trying to go the long way around. Surely not around the outside. He crosses the line to win for the final time. Thank you for letting me be your voice on PRL for the last few seasons. Goodbye.